Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, I will be reading from the r/EntitledPeople subreddit, so let's jump into it. HR expects me to work for free. I completed my graduation from a pretty prestigious university in my country and moved back home as my parents weren't doing so well. Although I had an attractive degree, I had no previous job experience or connections, as everyone I knew moved on from the dead-end city I was living in. I applied for internships, tried walk-ins, to no avail. Finally, a friend shared a job posting for a sales job at a prestigious publishing firm. Not a job I was going for at all, but at that point in time, I was desperate. I go in for the interview and had a great time meeting the team. There were a total of 3 rounds, with people being cut in each. Now, the stipend they were offering was already extremely low, $215 a month, but I figured I could move on to better places or even go higher up in the company within time. Within a couple of days, they called me with a job offer. I was absolutely ecstatic, as I could finally start contributing to the house, albeit quite measly. We discussed timings, shifts, and then, just as she was about to hang up, I asked, "The salary is the same as what was posted on the job site, right?" She said she had no idea what I was talking about. She was the HR, and that I should be grateful for getting a step in so early in my career. She went on about the training they provide, which would cost me thousands elsewhere. Again, it was a sales job, the connections I would make, and the exposure. Finally, she said I was expected to work for free. At this point, I was speechless and asked for how long. She said at least 6 months until I could prove my mettle. I politely said no, and the floodgates came loose, with her calling my generation entitled, how we didn't value work, expected to be given everything on a plate, etc. At this point, I simply hung up. She called me a couple times later, but I ignored it until she called me a 3rd time, offering me $100 a month. I said no. More yelling, I blocked her. A couple of months later, my uncle, who lived in the national capital and had a business, decided to open a chain in the city and recruited me to help around the business and learn. And yes, he did pay me. Much more than I deserved, to be honest. I also updated my LinkedIn profile. A few days passed by, my uncle called me to the office, turned his desktop around so I could see the message. It was the HR messaging him on how rude, unprofessional, and destructive I was, and how I left them hanging and cost the company valuable resources. I was speechless, and after I told him the whole story, we had a good laugh. Needless to say, I blocked her from my LinkedIn after that. They literally expected OP to work for free, and they have the audacity to call OP the entitled one. Then they stalked OP's LinkedIn profile so they could slander her. Great googly moogly is all I have to say about that. I would definitely be suing this company for defamation. Also, you guys know me by now, and you know I'm petty, so I found out via the comments which company this was. So of course I'm going to subtly tell you all with a few hints. It's a major publishing company that rhymes with penicillin. It also ironically rhymes with villain. Anyways, completely unrelated, have you guys ever watched the TV show Macmillan and Wife? Girl at my work has pissed us all off. When this girl, EB, started working, she had a bit of an attitude, but we all figured it's because she's a rich high school kid at her first job. She often would try to push her work off on others and would sass anyone who asked her to do anything. Everything she did was filled with huffing and pouting. Sometimes when the manager catches her trying to give other people her jobs or asks her to do something and make sure she does, instead of doing it, she'll sit in the middle of the hall to the back back room. She will take up as much space as possible, and if you ask her why, she'll say she's just so overwhelmed. A few weeks ago, I found a disposable vape on one of the counters. I asked if it belonged to anyone, and my coworker said it was theirs, but was going to throw it away. Important side note, EB and several other high school kids recently were caught by their parents while doing a lot of hard and illicit substances. So they were all going through withdrawal from a few different things, including nicotine. I had other things to do, so I put it in my pocket and got back to work. Later, I remembered the vape in my pocket, and as my hand was over the garbage about to drop it in, "Is that a puff bar?" "Yeah, it's burnt though, so I'm chucking it." "Can I have it?" "What?" "No, it's burned." "I don't care. Can I have it?" "No, it's burned. And you're supposed to be quitting this stuff." I put the vape back in my pocket. "Seriously? You're not even going to use it. And I'm also not required to enable you." The rest of that shift and the next few, she was very awful to interact with. This past weekend, EB showed up to work sick as hell with something. As people were coming in, I was handing everyone a paper mask. EB declined, and it's not my job to make her wear one, so I let it go. A bit later, I was packing up some food to take on delivery, when EB tries to hand me some food and a receipt. "Can you call out this order for me?" Hearing her voice for the first time that day and realizing just how sick she is, so I jerked back from her. "No, I'm packing my delivery order." "Please? My voice is gone." "No, I'm running behind on my work." "Well, I can't, so." She then drops the food next to me and walks away in a huff. At this point, I was just fed up. All of the little remarks and rude comments got to me. I called out the order and left for my delivery. While out, I contacted the general manager of the store to ask for advice. I have an autoimmune disorder, as does my mom and stepdad. It's risky for me to be going out as is, and I was freaked out that I was working with someone as sick as EB. I told the general manager that EB had refused a mask at the beginning of the shift, and she's incredibly sick with something, while working with people's food. I laid out an ultimatum that either EB at least puts a mask on, or I'm going home so I can keep myself and my family safe. When I got back from delivery, I had to grab another and go, but EB was now wearing a mask, however, not covering her mouth or nose. The next time I came in, she was leaving to go home early. A few days after, the general manager and I have a sit down. At first, I was a bit worried I did something wrong, but OMG, it went better than I could have imagined. 1. Manager is going to try and make it so EB and I don't work together and promised my hours would stay the same. 2. Manager agrees that EB's attitude problem is getting worse and that she is on thin ice. 3. The best one yet. Next time EB comes in without a mask and refuses, she will get written up and sent home. Corporate policy is that everyone needs to have a mask on properly, and EB knows this. Update: EB came in without a mask again today. The manager offered her a mask and asked her 3 times to wear one. GM came in, saw EB without a mask, and gave her a talking to about the ridiculousness of all of this, as well as wrote her up. EB came storming out of the back room after, and I thought she was gonna punch someone, to be honest, and basically yelled, "I can't believe I just got a fucking write-up for not wearing a mask." She tried to claim she hadn't been asked, hadn't heard, etc. It was glorious. Edit. She was also walking around the back room, talking about how she's going to find a new job, and how she's going to go up to the manager and say, "F you, I'm quitting, F you bitch." What she doesn't realize is our manager is the kind of person who will laugh in her face and say, "Good, get out." Update to the update. I'm friends with the manager that was working yesterday, and I have received screenshots. I won't be posting them though, just because EB is a minor, and I don't know if they have read it, but I'll give you a few quotes here. EB is confused on what she did to deserve a write-up and is claiming she forgot or didn't hear. She's apparently also feeling targeted and said she never said no. EB has totally said no, and when she doesn't, she huffs and puffs and sighs and rolls her eyes or ignores the person that's asking. EB is also trying to say that the write-up was an extreme measure and, all in all, is acting like the general manager emotionally scarred her. So, she's refusing to wear a mask around food during a panorama, and she still has a job? How? This girl sounds very immature and like a very typical entitled Teen Valley girl. I am sad there's no update that she's been fired yet, but it's not like her getting fired is going to do anything anyways. She seems like the type that'll always play the victim, so she'd likely just get a new job and tell her new coworkers how her old employer was so mean and how she was targeted until she slacks off and gets fired from her new job, and the cycle continues. Ah yes, it's the circle of entitled people. That was me trying to make a parody of the circle of life. I promise I'll never sing again. But anyways, that is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed those 2 entitled people stories. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do. And I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!